go live. I think we're live. Let me know you can see me and hear me okay. I'm signing into Cloudflare in the background. Sorry, running a little late today. The kids were off school yesterday. Snow day. We got like 2 inches of snow. Ooh, and they closed everything. So, catching up a bit today. Let me get on Cloudflare. Let's look at the stats from last week. Today, let's look at the stats, because also let's turn on Do Not Disturb, because we don't need all my freaking text messages from my wife popping up. Oh, I'm probably gonna chunk. This is funny. The video's probably chunking. For whatever reason, Cloudflare, the Cloudflare homepage is like crazy resource intensive with their like globe. So the video probably chunked there for a second, which is hilarious. All right, anyway, let me sign in to Cloudflare. Let's get the 2FA stuff. Give me a second here. Like I said, apologies, not all the way set up. Feel free to gripe at me in the chat. I can take it. I would be annoyed too. Come on, we're supposed to be streaming. Let's get this appropriate 2FA. Yes, I'm a human. Log me in. Okay. So, stuff's coming up. I'll bring up the screen here in just a second, but basically the point was last week we added a WAF rule to hopefully make Cloudflare, hopefully make the percentage cached a little more consistent, right? We saw last week that there was like a spike up to like 80% cached, and then it would like crash down and whatever. So I think we're good now. Let's close out any other 2FA important stuff. Let's close out automatic updates. Let's share my screen. There we go. Okay, so we're on the Cloudflare dashboard here for Confident Laravel. So our average over the last 24 hours is 85% cache. Now, again, not a lot of traffic on this site. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But all we have done is cache the homepage, confidentlaravel.com. Boom, look at that, instantaneously up. We could get in the network inspector and see that it's, loading in 30 milliseconds from like Atlanta. Amazing, right? So we've done that, we've achieved that. And because there's not a lot of traffic, 2 things. One, I think we're getting the fluctuation, we're getting the spikes simply because you're talking about a situation where in an hour, there's 26 requests, okay? So even if, 6 of those 26 were for the homepage, and the other 6 were for logged in users, which aren't cached, I'm at a 50% level, right? So we see that here, 47.98%. So it's just not enough traffic to really be even, like an even distribution of a cache hit ratio, like you would see in something like Laravel Shift. So let's see. Let me switch to Laravel Shift real quick just to see like this better consistency. So Laravel Shift, 98% cached. I mean, just a straight line, right? Just a straight line, and a lot more requests here, right? 30K requests a day, sometimes more on certain days of the week. The last 24 hours is Tuesday, coming off a holiday week here in the US. So the point is, though, crazy consistent because the traffic is more uniform, it's more consistent. The cache hit ratio is staying the same, right? The math is working out. That's just not the case on a low traffic website. So really, though, we should consider the fact that, again, we've only cached the homepage and we're in like the 85th percentile of caching, right? We're cached 85, technically rounded up 86%, even higher at some points in time when traffic is only hitting the cached homepage. We're in the 90s. I mean, look at this. I mean, spiked up to 99 here when you only hit the homepage, right? So everything we've done in previous streams, right on, spot on, good. I don't think you're going to see a plateau here like we saw with Laravel Shift because, again, the traffic's just, it's too sporadic, right? It's too sporadic of traffic. So our caching is working. The numbers look great for the very minimal effort we did to cache just the homepage. There's something I noticed. There's something I noticed, though, when I looked at the request traffic. Actually, let's do that. Let's look at the request traffic. We're gonna go full screen me again, just so I can sign into one of the web servers. Hold on just a second. Lots of full screen me today. So, all right, let's get into one of the web servers. Let me run this little Unix command. Make sure it doesn't kick out anything weird. There we go. What does this look like? Is this acceptable? Yes, it is. I think this is acceptable. Okay, I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. All right, shared screen. Okay, so here is the access log on one of the web servers for Confident Laravel. It's load balanced, so there's 2 servers, but theoretically, again, the traffic is evenly distributed. Actually, Confident Laravel, since it doesn't have a lot of web traffic, it actually might not be load balanced anymore. So this might be all the traffic is the point. So look at what we're seeing here. We're seeing the highest traffic, the most requested thing in the last 24 hours is the robots.txt file, which honestly we should cache that. There's no reason that can't be cached. That should be cached. We can cache that. We can make a rule to cache that, like right now. So the point is, though, the rest of the high-end pages, right, are effectively a favicon could be cached. I don't know why this logo white SVG is not being cached. We'll figure that out. But the point is, the rest of kind of the top 10 pages are the videos, and the homepage is getting requested a couple times, right? Because it is getting refreshed by Cloudflare per its edge network. So only 5 requests for the homepage in the last 24 hours, 5 requests for a video. The next highest requests are people logging in. That makes sense. We could cache that. I might talk about that in a future video. But here's the one I want to focus on today. Number 3, right? We can cache robots, so let's just ignore that. We'll kick that out. We may cache login in a future one. We'll see. There's some stuff I could talk about there. Let's focus on this API purchasing power today, because what this is the homepage is sending an API request to see if you're in a country that has purchasing power. And I know when I wrote this course, I wasn't using Cloudflare services, and Cloudflare, with all of its beautiful free services that we've been using in these streams, it can do geolocation as well. So I want to go refactor that so I don't have to make this API call anymore. And now I've just gotten rid of the 3rd. So now basically we have a plan to get rid of the next top 3, and we could even do register at that point. So really you're going to get only, your highest web traffic is going to start with password resets from active users, right? Theoretically active users, right? I mean, look at the traffic though. Everything else is long tail, and this is all BS. I don't even know what this is. I mean, this is all just, it's not getting blocked because it's technically a query string to the home page. But if you were getting a crap load of those, we could make a rule to block that. So anyway, we could cache a lot more here. Even though these are only like less than 100 requests in the last 24 hours, we could cache all these if we wanted to. So I want to focus on this API purchasing power today. So let's jump into the code and let's just kind of go look. Let's look at how that's built, because I think it's built based on an old service, right? So let's check this purchasing power. I think, yeah, it still uses this geocoding service. It doesn't need to do that anymore. We can get that from Cloudflare. So I want to take, I don't know, I've been talking a lot here, apologies. I want to take let's take like the next 20 minutes. We'll refactor this code in a way that it's going to use the Cloudflare header and hopefully set up this banner like in a way where it can be cached as well, right? So let's figure that out. So first, let's go back out here, Confident Laravel, beautiful. Let's go to Cloudflare CF location header. I think it's like a country. They give you a particular header. I just need to find it. There it is. CF IP country header, I think. There you go. So you get this, and it's not 100%. I'm already using it on Laravel Shift. It's not 100%. You could be on a VPN, you could be on a cellular network. So there's reasons why either A, Cloudflare doesn't map it, or B, it's just flat out wrong based on where you are in the world. That's okay, because honestly, this underlying geocoding service, it probably suffers from the same challenges anyway, right? So I'm cool with trusting what Cloudflare gives me. So again, it gives me kind of this 2-character designation. and lets me know what we get. So basically it's just, oh, where'd I go? Where'd you go? CF location header. Oh, I just hit like brightness. There we go. Where'd it go? There it is. So CF IP country gives us a 2-digit alpha code. Okay, so right now, what are we doing? So this comes in and it basically says if you don't have an IP address, so what the geocoder is currently doing is taking your IP address, sending it off to a geocoding location service and based on IP address, and then it gives us back a country. Well, we don't even need to do that anymore because the CF location header is just going to give us that. So we probably don't even need this API endpoint at all. But for now, I'm going to rewrite this code. For now, I'm just going to simply rewrite this code. We'll push it live, make sure it's still working in its current, its current implementation or its new refactored implementation. And then I'll look at ripping it out and making it cacheable. So 2-step process here. So let's say request header, drop that in there, right? So if that's empty, we'll just abort 400. We really shouldn't abort 400. What is 424? HTTP code 424. Failed dependency. Man, I was getting fancy. On that. What does this mean? Failed dependency. The core of the issue is that a prerequisite action on the current request relies on did not succeed. That's pretty good. Man, I'm smart sometimes. That's pretty... That's a cool code. I like it. This means in my mind, this means the failed, I have a dependency on this geocoder service and it gave me null. So like, hey, the current request relies on, a prerequisite action and it failed. Man, I feel good about that. Okay, so actually we could probably use that 424 down here. So if you don't have the CF IP country, then we're going to abort. Okay. So we could go so far. I don't even think we need the temp variable. We'll just pass this along directly. Now, okay, so then we can keep coupon find by country for now, pass it the country code, which is theoretically... What does this take? So it takes a bunch of different stuff. Purchasing power factor for country. I'm just trying to figure out what country. I'm gonna get rid of. Oh, okay. So these are like full-on names. I don't even need all this anymore. What kind of just needs to happen? I should really just give. I think I was giving like very specific discounts based on your country. I don't even think I want to do that anymore. Find by country, coupon find by country. I think what I want to do is probably change this to find. It's kind of like coupon. I kind of want to say, I get the find by country thing. First of all, it should probably be find by country code, because that's what they're going to give us. But am I finding a coupon by country code? Let's just make another one. Whoa. Let's just make another one real quick. This is going to take a string and we'll call it code. And I think, why are you alerting me? Yeah, don't modify stuff, PHP Storm. Okay, so find by country code, and then yes, we need it to return self. Cool. All right. Oh, question mark self, of course, because it's a find method. Nice. Okay, so then if it's null, then response 200. Otherwise, we're gonna return country temp URL coupon % off. Now, country is no longer the full name. So that would mean I kind of need like a mapping now, instead of that mapping of your country name to the factor. I need to kind of rebuild that. I'm gonna have AI do that for me. I'm not gonna go mess with all that right now. But basically, I'm gonna have AI change all these factors and just make it. I'm gonna say, hey, take all these names and give me their country codes. That's basically what I'm gonna do. So let's go see what find by country does. The only place it's used, so now it's grayed out. Good. Purchasing power factor. We're not going to do any of this anymore. I think what we're going to do is just take... Let's just... I think I'm going to make a new coupon and kill all these old ones and basically just make a new coupon for 50% off. So the point here is basically I need to say, if you are a purchasing power country code, then, return that. Right? So we'll return. So here, this method's almost not even needed. I think I'll probably just kill it, to be honest. But let's just say let's just do what we're doing down here. And instead of factor, we'll change this to... I think what I'm going to do is just put this in a config. I'm just going to say if not in array code config. What do I have here? Do I have a settings? Do I have a setting? Yes, I do. Okay, so let's do settings, purchasing power, and we'll say countries. There we go. I'll just put the mapping in the config. So this really probably needs to be, it's kind of not even that. It's actually if not is set, and we could just directly dereference this with code because it'll be a keyed array. Let's close out that, and here we would return null. Okay, all this will get updated with tests to make sure it actually works. But what we're saying now is we're gonna pass this simply in. We're gonna find it by the country code. If you're not a purchasing power country that's configured for the application, need to do that part. But if you're not in there for that code, return null. Otherwise, we're just gonna send in the purchasing power coupon. So since I'm gonna mess with the config anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and make this a configuration option as well. That way, if it changes between devs or whatever, so we'll say this PPP coupon ID. Beautiful. Okay. So then otherwise we're going to pull the coupon ID that currently exists for the country code. So that means all this other junk can go away. I just want to demonstrate how much code is actually going to be removed by pulling out all this geocoder crap. Okay, and here now we could also say config. We know at this point that we have an actual coupon for that country code. So now we can do the same thing. Settings, PPP, countries, and we'll take the code. And we don't have that. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to go ahead. Yep, let's go ahead and bar this off. I'm using it 3 times now. Rule of 3, right? Rule of 3. All 2 references, code. Beautiful. All right, cool. Okay, what's wrong with this? Return is expected as a response. I'm getting a view. See you later. All right. Okay, so let's review here. We have now, utilizing the CFIP country header. If it's empty, we're going to get a 424 because this is based on that, and we should have that header. It's a little bit harsh. We kind of don't need the 424, but again, I think this API is ultimately going to go away. So I think for now, just since we're kind of quote unquote refactoring, I'm going to leave that alone. If defined by country code, pass it the code. If it finds something, or sorry, if it doesn't find something, just return response no content, status 200. Great. Otherwise, return the banner. So what's left to do is to get into settings and make this countries array thing. But again, in an effort to kind of like remove all of these services that I'm probably not using, check this out now. So I was using this IP base thing. I don't need to do any of that anymore. Awesome. So let's just make sure geocoder is like not used anywhere else other than maybe the tests. Yep, it's used in the tests, no problem. So look at that, we can get rid of this. See ya. And we can go into our geocoder test and we can get rid of you. Don't need you anymore. Probably don't even need the payment gateway stuff, to be honest. Okay, so let's just check this out. Oops, not in here. GST. So let's run pint on everything, make sure we're kind of cleaned up. And we'll go ahead and get that test. I bet you there's a test for this API check purchasing power. Let's make that pass, right? So it returns a 400 when no IP address is provided. We kind of got rid of that because we're now returning the 424. So it returns a 424 when the geolocation header is missing. Cool. Okay, so we're not going to faker IPv4 anymore. We don't need any of that. We're going to pass, do we pass in server variables or headers? Is it, this is with header. Yes, with header. There we go. And it won't be that, but it will be, oops. It will be CF, what'd they call it? I want to get this test passing. Let's do CF that, or actually, sorry, it's not set. This is not set. There we go. We actually don't set it here. So it doesn't have it in there. We should get a 424. Cool. It returns a 200 when IP address for country without PPP. Okay. We don't need any of this mocking anymore. Do they have a country code? They do. Nice. What does this give us? Country code. Okay, we actually can't just fake any old country code. So we need to give it something else. So we'll say header. So we do need to pass in the header now. We need to set that country. And I think they said like they have XX. So that should be good. And then we'll get a 200. Great. Don't you get a 200 both ways though? What do we say here? Yeah, see, you get a 200 both ways. That's actually not the greatest test. We need to kind of go farther and say like response. Is there assert no content? Is that real? No. Assert no content. There we go. That's better. That's better. Okay, and then finally it returns the banner when the country has a PPP. Now this one isn't going to work. This one isn't going to work because we don't have any of the configuration there. But we could set this up to like for the future. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say give me an array random of the array keys of the config settings PPP countries. All right. So this should give me a random country code for a country that should be purchasing power, right? And that way we kind of cycle through and make sure kind of it all works. It gives us a little test variance. I don't think you need to do that necessarily. You could just pick one that you know you have country codes for, but whatever. And then we would either need to seed the database like we're doing. This feels a little ugly to me. I don't feel like we should have to do that. Or so we're set test now. I mean, that code should already be in the database and configured, is the way I feel. Is this using like, it's using refresh database, so we should already be seeded, I think. Maybe we're not though. Oh, we're doing with PPP. Okay, so we don't even need to do that anymore because now it'll just come from our configuration, so we can get rid of that. And what else here? We'll need to get this server header working the way we want, so let's bring this across as well. So we'll borrow that header, and it's now this. All right, and this should now be code. Whoa, that should now be code. Okay, so we're setting this up for temporary site, and then we're 200. That action URL should be that. Great. We assert C the country name. We assert C %off. %off being what? Oh, we don't have any of this stuff anymore. Okay. Boop. See you later. So country. Country is now this. And this will end up being static. So it's kind of like 50% off is basically what we're saying. We're just going to make everything 50% off. So that's what it should say. So you should get a 200. You should get a view. The action should be the signed URL. That's important because that's gonna make sure that you activate the appropriate, purchasing power parity, right? And then it should see the country name, cool, which will be the name that I map. And then it should be 50% discount. We're just gonna standardize that. It should get seeded and that'll be in the database. Now, I'm gonna run this. My expectation is that these two pass. This one won't pass yet because we're missing some of this other stuff, but it should not throw a PHP error at least. So that's kind of where we are. Okay, so returns a 200 when returns 200 for country without PPP. Cool. All right, so vendor bin PHP unit. Let's borrow this. So we are running pest. I'm still not used to running pest all the time. Let's just run that. Oh, there is no array. Okay. So expected status code 204, but received. Oh, wait. Oh, that auto. Does this auto check the status? Ah, okay, cool. All right, so here you go. So that was a good failure. So let's go back. Okay, 1 failed, 2 passed. Perfect, exactly what we want. This is gonna fail, with a PHP error because again, we do not have these settings yet. So there you go. Let's run Pint again, just make sure everything looks good. And also too, I noticed that this name is actually incorrect. So I'm just gonna do a git move to call this, I think it's just check purchasing power. This has parity on it. So let's just clean that up while we're in here, right? This is a good old, Boy Scout kind of thing. Leave the code better than you found it. Okay, cool. We'll run Pint one more time. Cool. All right, so let's check it out. So we got rid of some code in the middleware. Ultimately, I think this middleware is going to go away. That's why I'm not too worried about the code in there right now. We got rid of all this old stuff where it's all like factorization. It was way too overcomplicated. I don't know what I was doing there. Again, I was using this other service, so it was based on information that I could get from that IP service. Now, given the old course, and I do the same thing on Shift. Like, if you're in a country where the dollar, they call it the dollar index. If the dollar index is 50% less for your local currency, you get purchasing power. It's just that simple. I don't try to say like, oh, I don't say anymore like, oh, if you're in the Philippines versus, Brazil, whatever it is. So, or Vietnam, or Philippines. I don't know if Brazil has purchasing power, so I might have misspoke. But anyway, the point is, if you're in like UAE versus Vietnam, like forget the factors, right? You get one. But yeah, look at all this code. We deleted we deleted a whole entire service, the test for that service, and multiple lines from the actual middleware. And again, I'm also not having to worry about a third-party service. That IP-based one was down a lot, to be honest. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. I can just use this Cloudflare header that I get, again, for free. This sends across. Again, do I get it all the time? Sometimes it's XXX because of, reasons, people being anonymous or on, VPNs or whatever. So there are limitations to it, but the point is, you should reliably get this. Again, for real users in those countries, I think they're going to end up seeing this banner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish that array mapping. I'll just have ChatGPT do that. It should not take too long. I'll reseed the database with a single 50% off coupon that'll be mapped for purchasing power only. When we do that, I think the next goal, let's go look at the homepage real quick. I think the next goal is, now that we're leveraging this Cloudflare service, what we can do, I think index orders, if we go look, I think in here somewhere there's some like Ajax. Yes. Okay, so Stripe checkout, that's all fine. I thought there was like some API bit here. Hold on a second. API purchasing power. Let's limit this. It might be like, there we go. Where is this? Orders index blade. Okay, so there we go. XHR open. Here we go. Where was this? Oh, it's up here. Okay. So yeah, unless has coupon, which is probably using session stuff, which honestly, that's probably not going to work anymore for a cached page. Unless has coupon. I'm surprised it's not throwing an error in production, to be honest. Production might just eat that. It's interesting. Anyway, the point is, we're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this, and really just this flash message, which I think is up here. I think it's in the app layout. Yeah, here we go, flash. It's just an empty aside. So the point here is that this PPP banner, kind of just hacking around here, but this PPP banner should actually just get dropped right here. And what we can do, what we'll do is, instead of this thing making like loading the page and then making an API call and all that stuff, we really don't need to do that, because when this page loads, we know from request data now, not session data, making it more cacheable, that we can say if, request query, has PPP or whatever, then you would give them the opportunity to show the banner. And you don't need all these like temporary tokens and all this other stuff. We would just show the banner then. So this is kind of the next evolution. And now what can happen is, with this query string, that gets factored into the cache. So now you can have two cached home pages, one of the default and then one that has this banner at the top of it to offer them purchasing power, when we know that they already have a CF location header coming across. So while this stream was a little bit more about using the location header itself, I think now we've kind of demonstrated that with this header, we kind of don't need all these like sessions, back and forth application code. We can actually just go do it all at Cloudflare's level, and that's going to make it like infinitely more cacheable. So again, overkill for a small site like Confident Laravel, but I use something like this on Shift. I'm going to use something like this on the upcoming Fast Laravel course. So, it's not for naught. It's actually, beneficial for performance, and higher end sites definitely would benefit not only from using this geolocation that you get for free from Cloudflare, but we're going to see that we're going to be able to cut out, even more code when we get that far. So again, all this stuff is for an upcoming course launching on December 16th. I need to update this page. This page is going to go away on December 15th. So this is the only way until probably Black Friday 2026, to get a discount. So thanks for watching the stream. If you're interested in like what I'm doing here, sign up for this course. It's launching in about 2 weeks. this will be the only way to get a discount, is to be on the early access list. I'm not going to spam you. There's nothing. You're going to get one update later in the week, and then you'll get a pre-launch email with your coupon in it. And it's one per use. So like, again, this is the only discount. Get in here and sign up if you're interested in this course and you've been liking these streams and you want to make your site, crazy fast. So thanks everybody for joining live. We'll do part 2 next Wednesday. See you then.